You have worked your whole life, saving every dollar in hopes of having a stable home in California. But in 2025, what is really happening? The houses that were once symbols of success, places you thought you would stay in until the end of your life, are now dropping in value without breaks. Every morning you wake up, you see more homes discounted, more neighbors quietly moving out, more signs that this market is losing control. It is no longer a rumor, this is the truth. Home prices are plunging in cities across the state, from glamorous Los Angeles to places once seen as a promised land for retirees. Thousands of dollars in value vanish in just a few months. Meanwhile, insurance costs, taxes, and interest rates are higher than ever. The dream of a secure home is turning into a nightmare right on the very land you once believed was paradise. So, what are the 10 cities in California where home prices are falling free? Why are places once highly sought after now becoming hotspots of exodus? And most importantly, what should you do to protect your assets and your future? Watch until the end of this video, because what you are about to hear is not just a list. It is a serious warning for anyone living, investing, or retiring in California. The American dream has not disappeared, but it is only for those alert enough to see the truth. The 10 San Diego. The retirement dream is being crushed by costs. $6,000 a month, just to keep a roof over your head. That is the frightening reality unfolding in San Diego, once considered America's ideal retirement paradise. But in 2025, this sunny coastal city is no longer the promised land. It is gradually becoming a financial nightmare for thousands of middle-aged and older families. The median home price here still hovers around $875,000. But values have dropped 2.1% in the past 12 months. A small-sounding number, yet on a nearly $1 million home, that's an $18,000 loss in just 1 year. And the decline has not stopped. Housing inventory has surged 61%, a clear signal that sellers are plentiful, but buyers are nowhere to be found. The reason is no mystery. Mortgage rates remain steady around 7%, pushing the monthly payment for a standard home here above $6,000, not including taxes or insurance. Meanwhile, the median household income is only about $85,000 a year, or less than $7,100 a month before taxes. In other words, nearly the entire monthly income barely covers the mortgage. This situation affects not just home buyers, but also devastates the short-term rental market. With new regulations tightening Airbnb operations, coupled with skyrocketing maintenance, taxes, and insurance costs, countless investors are being forced to pull out, dumping properties at steep losses. Meanwhile, the long-term rental market is also saturated, as a flood of new high-rise apartments has hit downtown, driving rents down and vacancy rates up. Areas that were once red-hot, like Pacific Beach or La Jolla, no longer see lines of people at weekend open houses. Yet, San Diego still holds advantages: a mild climate and a high-quality healthcare system. In the long run, these factors remain positives for those patient enough to wait for the market to adjust. San Diego was once the place people sought out to settle down for retirement. But now, more and more families are planning to leave the city, heading for states with lower living costs. The question is, what could possibly keep them here when everything has become unaffordable? Share your real-life story in the comments, because your experience might help others. 9. Ventura. When the blue ocean view starts to turn gray. In August 2025, the Ventura County Star reported, home prices in Ventura County have been virtually flat for nearly 3 years, despite soaring inflation and a cost of living that is choking residents. A place once hailed as California's coastal retirement paradise is quietly turning into a financial trap. Ventura is not collapsing as loudly as San Francisco or swinging as violently as Los Angeles, but it's this quiet decline that is truly frightening. With a median price around $820,000, few new buyers dare to pour money in when they see listings have surged more than 40%, with most properties cutting prices just to find a buyer in a cooling market. Selling times are longer, buyers are more selective and demanding, while homeowners grow impatient, forced to drop prices or throw in incentives. For viewers aged 50 plus, the greatest pain in Ventura isn't the sales price itself, but the cost of keeping that house alive against both nature and the market. Oceanfront homes that look like postcards are now facing skyrocketing insurance. Some owners report premiums jumping 20–30% in just 1 year. Add to that the threat of erosion, salty sea air eating away at materials, and maintenance bills piling up, from hundreds to thousands of dollars each month, draining retirement budgets already stretched thin. The hope of generating income from tourism has also faded. Airbnb was once an escape hatch for many older homeowners in Ventura, but now it's strangled by tighter regulations, shrinking in-state tourism, and travelers choosing cheaper alternatives in Mexico, Arizona, or Texas. For the same price, in Arizona you could get a brand new home for under $400,000. A stark contrast. Short-term rental profits are no longer what they were, and with mortgage rates still hovering around 7%, many small investors have already fled, dumping even more homes onto the market and further swelling supply. Ventura is still beautiful, still breezy and sunlit. But if you are living on a fixed income or preparing for retirement, this place is no longer a safe harbor. When the cost of owning a home outweighs the joy of living near the ocean, leaving is no longer a painful choice, it's the wise one. Do you think Ventura is still worth holding on to as your retirement dream? Or is it time for an easier option? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. 8. Riverside. When the dream of homeownership turns into a monthly headache. By mid-2025, many homeowners in Riverside woke up to a chilling reality. Their home values had quietly dropped nearly 3% in just a few months. The numbers may look small, but on a $500,000 house, that's tens of thousands of dollars gone. And worse, there are no signs of it stopping. Riverside was once seen as the breathing room for those who couldn't afford Los Angeles. But now, even this hopeful place has turned into a burden. Homes that once sold in less than 2 weeks now sit for months. Sellers slash prices, buyers haggle, and the market grows colder. A clear reversal is happening, and it is most brutal for those already retired or about to enter a stage of life without stable income. Financial pressure is piling up from every direction. With interest rates near 7%, the average mortgage here carries a monthly burden far beyond what most middle-class households can handle. But that's not all. Homeowners' insurance, especially in fire-prone areas, has soared. Many owners say that within just 12 months, their insurance bills jumped by 50%. Not because they changed anything, but because the insurance companies now consider their neighborhoods higher risk. Meanwhile, Riverside's population growth has cooled. The wave of young people from LA moving in for remote work has faded. Investors who once fought to buy homes are now fleeing, selling at losses, leaving behind streets lined with for sale signs, but few buyers knocking. The market is no longer in the seller's hands. The dream of homeownership is no longer a sweet promise. It has become a cold calculation, where every added expense is another heavy blow to retirement plans or a family's financial stability. For those who have lived here for more than a decade, Riverside today is no longer the livable city they once believed in. The big question is this: if Riverside, once considered a safe haven for the middle class, is wobbling like this, then where is the true refuge for those who want stability, not a gamble? For first-time buyers, falling prices open a rare chance to access neighborhoods that were once out of reach. Long-term investors may also seize this period to negotiate better deals. Do you think Riverside is just going through a short-term downturn? Or is this the sign of a lasting shift? Let me know your thoughts, because it's the different perspectives that make the housing picture clearer. 7. San Jose. When tech loses steam, housing prices lose ground. San Jose was once a magnet for homebuyers, shining under the halo of Silicon Valley. But today, that light is fading. By August 2025, the market here had recorded a median home price drop of more than 2.3%. A modest number, yet deeply significant when the typical home still hovers around $1.37 million. And just a few percentage points shaved off means tens of thousands of dollars vanish. A serious blow, especially for first-time buyers or those nearing retirement. Unlike the peak of 2021, when every house was fought over in just days, San Jose's housing market is now becoming a buyer's playground. They have time, they have options, and they have every reason to negotiate hard. Homes in well-known areas like Evergreen, Cambrian, or Almaden are sitting on the market for weeks, even months, while owners face heavy psychological pressure, along with unrelenting fixed costs like taxes and skyrocketing insurance. And we can't ignore the fallout from tech layoffs, from Meta, Google, down to smaller startups. With remote work becoming more common, more and more people are realizing they don't need to pay insane prices just to live near an office anymore. This has triggered a quiet but powerful shift. Younger residents choosing to leave San Jose, while older homeowners begin asking themselves, is holding onto a house here still a wise choice? A clear sign is the frequency of price cuts in the market. Entry-level homes, once the dream of thousands of young families, are now forced to drop prices just to find a buyer. The reality is that with mortgage rates hovering around 9% to 7%, the loan for a home over $1 million will cost more than $9,200 per month, not including property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. For those in their 50s and beyond, this isn't just a financial burden, but a long-term safety concern. San Jose still has a stronger financial foundation than many other places. However, that very strength makes the price correction process slow and grinding. This isn't a market that collapses overnight, but one that can wear you down if you expect a quick recovery. If you're considering holding on to a home here for retirement, ask yourself, are you investing in stability or just clinging to an old dream that no longer fits the times? San Jose may be losing its appeal, but our community is only growing stronger. Leave a comment. Where are you from? So we can build a real map of the places most affected today. 6. Los Angeles. When the star fades beneath a false halo. They used to say Los Angeles never sleeps, but in 2025, that sleeplessness has turned into a nightmare. Homes piling up, prices dropping, but fewer voices than you'd think. Recently, the median price of a home in LA fell to about $930,000, nearly 1.8% lower than the same time last year. Streets as glamorous as Beverly Hills or West Hollywood still glitter. But behind the lights is the shadow of anxious homeowners asking, what price can we actually sell for? LA is steadily losing its biggest advantage: seller power. Homes take longer to sell. Many listings must cut prices, slash values, no longer the list it and it's gone frenzy of the past. Buyers now have the upper hand. They bargain, compare, nitpick, with no fear of missing out. On top of that, wildfire and disaster insurance in hillside areas, constant repair costs, all pile pressure on those hoping to settle down in retirement. Income hasn't risen to match expenses, and high-interest mortgages are turning assets into burdens. Los Angeles is still an icon, still a place many dream of living. But for those 50-plus, where is the value when every month you're paying mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, while home values may keep falling? When even the wealthy have to rethink their positions, a slight dip in home prices is no longer just a private matter. It's a citywide wake-up call. If you found this information helpful, hit like so more people can receive these early warnings. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next cities might just be the ones you're considering moving to. 5. Sacramento. A gentle collapse in silence. Sacramento was once the safe harbor for those leaving the Bay Area in search of affordable peace, a place where you could dream of a secure home at a more accessible price. But 2025 shows Sacramento quietly sliding down. The median home value has dropped about 1.1% from last year. Not a catastrophic crash, but enough to make anyone who invested or settled here start second-guessing their decision. The market here is being affected by a growing number of listings, with the average time on the market stretching to about 44 days before finding a buyer, something that was rare in popular areas like East Sacramento. Nearly 1/3 of all listings have to lower their prices just to attract buyers, a signal that can't be ignored. And because the average income in the area hasn't kept pace with the cost of home ownership, for people 50-plus or those living on fixed retirement income, owning a home is no longer a guarantee of safety, but rather a gamble. Sacramento isn't as glamorous as San Francisco, nor as expensive as Los Angeles, but it's exactly this gentleness that can be dangerous. In a place where you thought you had escaped major pressure, the pressure comes slowly, quietly. As maintenance costs, property taxes, and disaster insurance continue to rise, keeping a home in Sacramento can turn into a long-term financial burden rather than a source of pride. And if you sell, you might not recover much compared to the peak. Did you once believe Sacramento would be a safe place to start retirement? Today, things are changing. Share your honest feelings. Do you still see this as a safe destination, or has that dream already faded? 4. Bakersfield, cheap but not free from pain. If you think living cheaply means escaping pressure, Bakersfield is testing that belief. By mid-2025, the housing market here started showing clear signs of softening. The number of listings increased, while buyers decreased, not because they didn't want a home, but because they couldn't afford the costs that come with buying one. The median home price is now around $393,000, slightly up from last year. But in reality, many homes have had to cut prices multiple times just to find a buyer. The pressure from high interest rates is still weighing heavily. Although Bakersfield has been seen as an escape route for those who can't handle Los Angeles or San Diego prices, when mortgage rates are around 7% and median income hasn't risen enough to keep pace with monthly payments, that feeling of cheap turns into long-term risk. Extra costs like maintenance, property taxes, and disaster insurance, all of them keep climbing bit by bit, forcing retirement savings to be spent on keeping the house instead of enjoying life. One striking sign is that days on market have gotten longer. Homes no longer sell instantly, but sit, get reduced, need persuasion, sometimes cut deeply before attracting interest. And with supply rising, sellers are losing power. For people in their 50s and beyond, those retired or nearing retirement, Bakersfield is shifting from a safe choice into one that tests your patience. 3. Oakland, when luxury is forgotten. Under the shadow of fear. Oakland was once seen as a land of opportunity, close to San Francisco, full of art, cultural diversity, and a housing market that surged during the boom years. But 2025 shows Oakland hasn't escaped the shock. Median home prices have dropped about 10–15% from last year, now around $700,000. That's not a small dip, that's a red flag. When million-dollar homes no longer hold their appeal, more and more properties sit on the market, get discounted, or even left vacant. The most striking factor: risk-averse psychology. Buyers are now wary of insurance costs, safety, crime, and declining quality of life. Oakland is facing not just a housing price issue, but a living value issue. Deteriorating roads, weak infrastructure, natural disaster risks, and higher maintenance costs. For middle-aged residents planning retirement in Oakland, the question isn't just about the mortgage. It's, can I really live out my years in peace when every expense keeps climbing? Another difference is in the rental market, which has recently shown some recovery, but unevenly. Central areas and high-rise apartments are still under pressure. Some landlords offer incentives, waive fees, or cut rents short-term to fill vacancies. If you're thinking of buying to live or to invest, Oakland is no longer a story of sure-win real estate, but one of real estate that requires careful calculation. 2. Stockton, where cheap is no longer salvation. Stockton was once a go-to choice for many middle-aged buyers and those looking to escape the crushing prices of coastal cities. But 2025 is exposing Stockton with cold, hard numbers. The median home here now sells for about $435,000, but that's down 6.5% in just 1 year. Nearly $30,000 in value gone. The time a home sits on the market has stretched from about 29 days to 43. Each extra day means more financial risk and more carrying costs piling onto homeowners. Stockton used to attract buyers with its good price plus growth potential. But now, that potential is tested by falling demand. Buyers are waiting for further price drops, hesitant to borrow while mortgage rates remain high. And here's the sharpest edge for older homeowners. If they hold property for retirement or for their children, maintenance, repairs, and property taxes keep climbing. Meanwhile, appreciation, it's faint, if it exists at all. Stockton doesn't have the glamour, but it does have the reality. And that reality says, cheap can also mean risky if you're tied down when the market goes flat. For those seeking stability in later years, Stockton today is where every dollar must be counted. Will you accept living in a cheap zone if it also means watching value slip away year after year? Is anyone here living in Stockton right now? Share your real experience with the community. Is it true that costs are eating away at value, or is life still manageable? Your story might be the lesson someone else desperately needs. 1. San Francisco. When the city that never sleeps starts to snore. San Francisco, the golden symbol of California, is waking up to a different dream. Not the dream of rising prices, but the fear of falling ones. From mid-2024 to mid-2025, homes across all tiers have recorded price drops. Entry-level down about 6%, mid-tier around 9%, and high-end roughly 7%. Even in the priciest neighborhoods, you're no longer immune. The median home value in the San Francisco metro has slipped about 2.5% compared to last year. Luxury condos and townhomes, once boosted by the remote work frenzy, are now taking heavy hits. Inventories are swelling, open houses are empty, and sellers are cutting prices or adding incentives just to lure in buyers. What makes San Francisco unique is the crushing cost of living layered on top. Property taxes, disaster insurance, repair bills, HOA fees. They all jump year after year. Add to that strict laws on short-term rentals, safety concerns, a rise in homelessness, and the fading work-from-home advantage. And the city's appeal is fading fast. For people over 50, holding onto a home in San Francisco is no longer just a financial burden. It's an emotional one too. Constant worry, constant stress, and the fear of being stuck in a market that may never return to its old peaks. San Francisco is still beautiful, still rich in culture and opportunity. But if you're considering it as a retirement spot or as a safe asset, ask yourself this: can you handle not just the financial cost, but the monthly stress of watching both expenses and confidence quietly slip away? California was once the land of dreams, a place where people came to start a new chapter, to build families, to search for freedom. But in 2025, reality is knocking harder than ever. From major cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco to so-called safe havens like Ventura and Bakersfield, all are revealing deep cracks. Home prices are no longer climbing. The cost of living keeps tightening. Taxes, insurance, interest rates, all piling up on buyers, pushing them further away from the dream of home ownership. For those over 50, this is no longer just about investment. It's about safety. It's about stability. It's about freedom in retirement. So what should you do now? Don't rush to follow the crowd. Be clear-eyed. Look at the numbers. Reevaluate your true needs. If you're considering buying, 2025 could be an ideal year, but only if you choose the right place at the right time. And if you're holding property and waiting it out, keep a close watch. The market is shifting every single day, and timing the bottom is no longer just for investors. Share this video if you found the information useful, and don't forget to comment. Where do you live? Is your city feeling the same pressures we've talked about today? And remember, while others are still dreaming, it's the clear-eyed who come out on top.